Good morning. Good morning. We're going to get underway here just now. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to our webinar, Transforming Internal Audit into a Value Driver for the Business. My name's Win White. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at Supervizor, and I'm going to be your host here today. Let's get ourselves underway, but before we do so, I have just a few quick housekeeping comments. First of all participants are muted throughout the duration of the event. That does not mean we don't want to hear from you. So in order to hear from you, please send us your questions. You can actually do so by two ways. You can either do it via the chat, but probably the preferred way is via the questions module, which is on the very right-hand bottom of your corner. And then, of course, after this webinar, you will receive an on-demand link. If there's parts of it that you want to rewatch or you want to share it with others, you will receive that immediately after the event itself. So as we get underway, I'm very excited to share with you our speakers today. They are Helene. She's the Director of Internal Audit and Internal Control and Risk Management at the European telecommunications provider in Orange in Belgium. Helene has over 30 years of experience in internal audit, internal control, risk management, and anti-bribery, anti-corruption compliance, including a decade in retail where she worked at Marks & Spencer, Auchan, and Darty. She then spent 2 more decades in the telecommunications industry at Orange. While at Orange, she has worked in France, the EU, UK, and Russia. Helene, welcome.
Thank you. Hello, everyone.
Great. Thank you, Helene. And we also have with us Andre Tshisuaka, who is the Director of Internal Audit at the global packaging solutions provider Premier Tech in Canada. Andre has been in audit-related roles for 17 years. He holds a master's degree in finance and a master's in financial engineering, and even a third one in economic sciences. So Andre is very well educated, especially as it relates to finance. Over his career, Andre has worked in Q&A, due diligence, and financial audit at E&Y, and as an administrative and financial director at Crédit Agricole Immobilier, where amongst other responsibilities, he was responsible for internal audit, internal control, and risk management. For the last 6 years, Andre has led Premier Tech's team in this area, which additionally includes compliance. Of note, Andre has helped build semi-automated internal audit tools at some of the companies that he has worked for. Andre, welcome.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you for joining us. And then last but not least, we have Auriane Giovannoni, head of our solutions expertise here at Supervizor, and she's based in New York. We are a very scattered group today, all around the world. In her role, Auriane helps clients to optimize their use of Supervizor technology and unlock the full potential of automated controls. Before joining Supervizor, Auriane spent several years as an external auditor at PwC, developing expertise in accounting and risk management. Auriane holds a master's degree in corporate finance, audit, and accounting. So I want to share a bit of a background before we kind of jump into things, because the bulk of our discussion today is, well, actually, the bulk of our time today is going to be spent on discussion with our speakers and having them share their perspectives. The reason why we're doing this webinar today is that internal audit has been undergoing tremendous change, which I'm sure all of you are familiar with. And it's probably the most important transformation happening in the worlds of governance, risk, and control. Internal audit has traditionally been viewed as a compliance function, one that ensures controls are in place, policies are followed, and risks are mitigated. But today, that role is expanding and it's changing. With rapid digital transformation, regulatory complexity, evolving business risks, internal audit is becoming a strategic enabler. It's helping to give insights that not only safeguard organizations, but also improve the efficiencies, enhance decision making, and then drive the overall business performance. CFOs, audit committees, business leaders have been increasingly looking to internal audit for more than just assurance. They are looking for, they even come to expect, actionable insights, predictive analytics, and then value-driven recommendations. So all these combined, they help strengthen the resilience and fuel the growth. And with technology advancements that include automation and data analytics, internal auditors have a lot of tools and more tools than ever before to produce forward-looking risk intelligence strategies that benefit the entire organization. So in today's session, we're going to hear from our experts and who are at the forefront of this transformation. We're going to discuss how internal audit is shifting from compliance to strategic advisory, the role of technology and automation in elevating internal audit's impact, and then best practices for positioning internal audit as a trusted business partner, amongst other things. I'm super excited about this. I've been looking forward to this webinar for a while now. So let's get ourselves underway. This is the agenda, which I mentioned. We're going to spend the bulk of our time having this conversation. We're going to walk through the questions that are meant to shed insight and help educate you on this topic. We're going to be using what I call the PPT framework to discuss this, which is the people, process, and technology. When we get technology, we intend to show you how supervisors helping internal audit teams become more efficient and effective. Auriane's going to show you a brief demonstration. We went back and forth as to whether or not we're going to actually show a demonstration, but we always get the request to actually show the technology. So we're going to go ahead and show it to you as part of this. And then after that, we're going to return to our broader conversation with our experts to answer one last question before we jump into Q&A. So I'd like to kind of kick us off and get us underway. Let's discuss audit and its changing nature. When discussing change, it's beneficial to use this framework. The people, process, and technology framework is a good one since you need to think about how it affects the people involved, how it changes the way things are done, and what tools or tech are needed. So let's look at how that is all changing and happening in the internal audit in this context. So, Helene, perhaps you can get us started today. I'd like to pose this to the question, and Andre, feel free to jump in as well.
Yeah.
And that is just, has internal audit been changing, and has it changed at your organization? And if so, how and what does that organization look like today, and what did it look like before? Helene, do you want to kick us off?
Yes, if you want, Wim.
Okay.
I'll be happy to. So indeed, internal audit has definitely changed and evolved within our organization. Previously, it was really focused on compliance, as you mentioned, financial aspects, and definitely a kind of police, or shall I say KGB style sometimes, as perceived by, the auditees. I think in the recent years and today, it has become much more proactive and risk focused, and also very much in close links with internal controls and processes to make sure that it's not only about giving recommendations, but also acting as a strategic advisory, giving a strategic advisory role. So for us, what does it mean within Orange? Basically, we have been able to work on a more comprehensive framework with all the business units, be it from IT, from finance, from HR, all kind of business operations. And it really also shifted from a one-shot vision to, I would say, a more continuous monitoring approach. So, in a nutshell, this is what has really changed a lot for internal audit.
Okay.
Maybe Andre would like to add something.
Yes, for us, for Premetech, is quite different compared to Orange, because it's just 5 years ago we implemented a new internal audit department. So it's a very new. We are abroad, maybe in 24 countries around the world, but we didn't have before internal audit department. So I created, thanks to my CFO, a new department where we we started with different missions such as risk management, internal control, compliance, and internal audit. So that means for us it's very new. And I will jump also what Helene said, because right now, even though it's a new, we are very focused in doing internal audit for the business. Because, you know, when you start a new department, such internal audit, it's very, very difficult for your colleagues, because they don't know that, they don't have the how to do that. So you have to do that step by step. You have to be a you have to implement a teaching approach to make sure that everyone can understand, and you don't have to be a policeman to control everything, but you have to help them. You have to be in the business part also. In the same times, you have to detect anomalies, errors, and to help the business and different areas to improve their compliance, sometimes to improve also their needs regarding their business.
Okay, thank you, Andre. Maybe, maybe we can sort of shift a slightly a little bit further. And Andre, I'll pose this to you. Do you feel like the business expectations for internal audit have also changed, including that from the audit committee and the board itself, and maybe
Yes,
perhaps other business leaders?
yes, I will say it's changed, because, you know, we have an audit committee, and with a different CFO inside, different, I will say, the skills of people inside the audit committee, and they bring, and they're helping me also to work and to implement the internal audit governance around the company. So it changed, because we don't want to do, as I said previously, to do just the internal audit as a traditional way, in the traditional way. We have to move on in different way, because we have a huge number of data. We have to analyze that. And the audit committee, with my department, we are working closer to help the business, as I said, to improve every time and to resolve different issues, such as, you know, in risk management for our company. We have, I don't know if in the audience people have the same problem. We have to fix out the risk of PFAS. So we have to make sure that when we sell our products, we are compliant in PFAS, for instance. And sometimes in ESG, we have to make sure that everything is on the proper way, respecting the compliance. But in the same times, we have to manage risk, because sometimes you cannot be very perfect and very compliant in each areas. So the audit committee understand that. The board also director understand that. So we have to work together and closely to do things step by step. As I said, we have to have the teaching approach. So you do things step by step, and we are very, very close with our audit committee and board director.
Okay, thank you, Andre. Helene, I'd like to maybe direct slightly different question to your way, but also feel free to comment on the last one. But does your team work more cross-functionally today than it did before? And if so, how is this getting manifested?
Yes, I would like to maybe add a few words, first of all, about the audit committee role, which is key, as Andre mentioned, because indeed, if we don't work together with the audit committee as well as the board, it would be a big problem, and we would not be recognized as internal audit, internal control, risk management activities if we are not working very closely with the audit committee members and board members as well. To come back to your question, I can say that yes, indeed, my team had and is happy to work much more cross-functionally. Today, because as I mentioned, we have to be really close to the business, close to the operations. We are really more and more seen as a partner, giving not only recommendations when we speak about audit, but also advice, and being, I would say, kind of inspiring in a way to the business, because sometimes they are very much focused on their daily business, and they don't always have time to, I would say, think out of the box, etc. So I consider that we try to give them the opportunity to take some perspective and hopefully to optimize processes, to make sure we create added value to the business. This is really our main challenge now. And while working cross-functionally, this can be quite decisive.
Great. Okay, thank you. Andre, let me direct another question back your way. Has your hiring profile for internal audit staff changed because of the changes you've seen to internal audit? And if so, what are some of the traits that you think are maybe more important when hiring today?
I will say it changed dramatically, because right now, when you have to monitor data, to analyze data, you have or you need, I will say, to hire people with different skills, such as business thinking and also analytical thinking. We have already in internal audit department, but you need people who has different skills in data, how to automate information data, and how to analyze that. So we step by step want to hire, and it's not very easy also, because in the market you cannot have people with internal audit and background or skills in automation process. But we need to find this kind of colleagues for our business, because it's a quite, I will say, complicated. Such I explained, we are around the world in 24 countries, and we have to analyze data easily, and to give some reporting to different managers and different departments. So that, I will say, the analytical thinking is very important, I said, but the creative thinking and also the technologic or data process skills is very, very demanding and very needed right now. And I will say, in my department, we created with my teams that are hired from a different country around the world. One come from France, another Algeria, another Moldavia, and they are increasing their skills in data. They can right now automate systems. They can use that, but because previously they did have this kind of skills. So right now it's needed in the, I will say, in the internal department. It's a very, very important skills to have right now.
Okay, fabulous. Helene, has your hiring profile changed much as well? Or do you have any further comments to make?
Yeah, it's pretty close to what Andre just said, and quite funnily, we also have people from Moldova, from Romania, from France, and all around the world, basically, even also from Africa and Middle East. In my team, what has been key, I think, is, and I don't want to repeat what Andre said very wisely and truthfully, yes, the critical thinking is very important, but the creative, and as I said, to think out of the box sometimes, to be able to give some advice to the business and some, I would say, guidances and disruptive approach sometimes. When I say disruptive approach, I mean, again, think out of the box. I think also, if I can add, the communication skills are very important, especially when you're around the world. Even in a relatively small country like Belgium, you know that there are 3 official languages, even in a small country like that. So definitely, I would say the cultural mindset, the fact that people are quite open-minded, and the fact that we are in the European Union, basically also with some, I would say, regulation pressure and sometimes some strong and solid aspects and requirements by the EU. Nevertheless, we still feel confident and creative and free to move forward and to take advantage of this multicultural, I would say, environment.
Okay, excellent. And maybe we can stay with you, Len, for this next question. Has your when you look at the processes, has your company changed any of its operational processes due to your team's sort of new approach in terms of internal audit? And if so, how did your team sort of discover these these sort of sources for operational change, and then subsequently then drive that change? I guess that's a pretty broad question. So if you want to break it down, feel free to.
I will try to give you a very hands-on answer, if you don't mind.
Sure, please.
I think one of the major changes was definitely the volume of data. And this is where, of course, Supervizor was quite helpful, I would say, on this part. The volume of data is increasing and almost, I would say, no limit nowadays. So we really had to be able to tackle this aspect. And I think to answer also your question about processes, and to give you again a very pragmatic example, we in Belgium had to work a couple of years ago on some SOX Sarbanes-Oxley requirements, which can be the case maybe for some of the attendees today, being on, for instance, the New York Stock Exchange, etc. And definitely the requirements for SOX are pretty heavy on the, I would say, detailed processes, to show that to your external auditors to make sure that they are compliant. And so we had to deal with, I would say, a huge volumetry of data, and make sure the data we would use and highlight would be as accurate and meaningful as possible.
Okay, excellent. Andre, do you have anything you'd like to further comment on that question, or or I'd also like to kind of move on to the technology aspect, because I feel like both of you have spoken indirectly to the technology already, and it sounds like that's one of the big drivers. So actually, maybe I'll just ask my question, my next question, and that is, what role does technology play in your organization, and how effective is your team in leveraging, and how do you make the most of it? Actually, Andre, I'll direct that to you if you don't mind.
Yes, we said in my organization, we are moving step by step to automation process because as Helene said, we have right now and around the world a lot of data, and we have to make sure that our colleagues can manage and monitor data and analyze that as soon as possible and quickly. So in the technology we are using, for instance, and I just last week made a training to different groups, different colleagues in a robotic RPA, robotic process and automation. So we are using that to make sure that we are not spending a lot of time to a different task that doesn't have a lot of values. So we need to make sure that we can emphasize our time to the task that has a lot of value. So that's why in the technology we are using robotic process automation, but also we created different website. We are doing digital transformation to collect data and to analyze that, and to automatically with a business intelligence also to have quickly reporting financial or internal audit also, because I'm as in the introduction, I'm doing also financial analysis. So I need to have a business intelligence, robotic process automation, and different kind of technology tools to perform quickly and to be very efficient for different areas of the business.
Okay. Okay, and then I guess I'd like to just address maybe the same question to you, and that is, what role is technology playing in your organization, and how effective is your team in leveraging it? How do you make the most of it?
Well, I think first of all, telecommunication is supposed to be really linked to technology, and in Orange, this is something we have in mind for since the beginning, more or less, even when we were. I would say we used to be France Telecom a long time ago. Yes, technology is key. We know that it's moving very, very quickly, and we have to cope with it. I think also for the team, it's a very well, I would say once in a lifetime opportunity to, in fact, upskill the whole team and make sure that they can move forward, improve themselves, and by improving themselves, they can also improve the view and the vision that we give to the business via internal audit or even internal control and risk management. So this is a big challenge, technology, of course. Some people speak about it as if it was a prayer, intelligence, artificial intelligence, are you here, etc. But at the end of the day, it has to become commonplace. It has to become business as usual. I mean, we have to translate it into the daily business and daily life, professional life at least. So I think yes, more and more we try to have a vision based on technology becoming an enabler for moving forward in our vision of the business, I would say.
Okay, great. Well, Supervizor is a technology provider. We both Orange and Premier Tech are using Supervizor technology to help facilitate some of the internal audit. And Auriane has been way too quiet already. So we want to give Auriane an opportunity to talk. And also we want to use an opportunity to basically share a little bit with our audience about kind of Supervizor and what it does, and how it actually helps enable internal audit. So Auriane, I'll let you take it from here.
Yes, thank you, Win. So yes, I'm going to jump in and show you a bit our solution. Before that, I wanted to explain in a few slides what is Supervizor doing and how it's working. So Supervizor is a plug-and-play audit analytics platform that connects to your ERP system and automatically runs 350 plus ready-to-use checks to continuously detect anomalies in accounting and operational data. How does it work? So I have this slide to explain a bit more. We have 4 main steps in the solution. The first one is the data retrieval. Supervizor is going to connect directly to your ERP system. It's a tool that is ERP agnostic, which means that it's going to run the same tests on different ERP systems in the same way. So whether you have 1, 2, or multiple ERPs, you're going to be able to apply the same controls for all of your entities and company codes. Then the second step is the data standardization and the algorithm. So Supervizor is going to categorize entries based on debit and credit flows, which allows it to identify transaction types automatically and to apply the right controls to the right entries. So this is step 3. As I said before, we have 350 plus preset controls that are both rule-based and AI-based that we're going to apply automatically on your data. And last step, step 4, is the investigation part. So the identified anomalies are displayed in Supervizor platform for investigation, and it's also supported by built-in Power BI dashboards for more of a visualization process. Then this slide just to explain a bit more what are our controls. So our controls are categorized in different modules over P2P, R2R, O2C, Treasury, P2P, T&Es, and soon inventory. We have a mix of both rule-based and AI-based checks. And usually our customer will start with 1 or 2 modules to really kick off the project. P2P being one of the most popular one within our offer. And then finally, before moving into the product itself, I wanted to show you a slide with some of our clients. You can see that we are working with the organization across various industries. So now we're going to move on to the product itself, and I'm going to give you a short demo.
Can I just give you an update, very recent one? Orange has actually left the New York Stock Exchange at the end of January, so sorry for that. It's really
we'll update the slide.
No problem.
Thanks, Helene. Okay, so this is Supervizor. I'm going to start with this view, the global view. This is the first screen a user sees when logging into the tool. As I said before in the slides, each month data is automatically refreshed and it's providing a comprehensive list of findings for review. Unlike traditional sampling methods, Supervizor analyzes the full population of data on a regular basis, helping organizations to have a more continuous and risk-focused approach. So this is what the end users are going to see. Each line represents a specific control, and they're all categorized in different modules that I showed before. So here we're going to focus mostly on P2P, also some treasury controls, and R2R. We have different elements on the screen, so each control has a conclusion. Control can be either OK, which means that we have no findings, information that are more statistics, for example, over the data, and anomaly, which are the ones our end users are going to investigate. Then you have the control name. When you go over, you have a short explanation on how it works, the module, the number of findings and the amount, and then the supervision and assignment part, which is important because it allows our customers to collaborate. Supervizor is a control tool, but it's also useful to enable collaboration between the audit teams and the business teams, as you can assign controls to different users and follow the progress of the investigation. So we're going to deep dive on 1 or 2 controls today. This first one that I wanted to show you. If we double click on a control, we'll have the list of findings. So for this control, it's going to flag accounting entry descriptions that contain keywords from our repository relating to a lifestyle. So it contains some luxury brands or keywords related to personal expenses. And as you can see, so when I open a control, you can see multiple findings. If you don't have a lot of time, if your team wants to focus on what's the most important, we have this priority feature, which allows to filter down on the most important findings. So now you can see that we went from dozens of findings to only a few. This priority feature is based for this control on the amounts and on the uniqueness of the keyword that is found in the accounting. And it really helps the team to spend basically the same time on audit than before, but to really focus on what is the most important among all of the findings. So here I have my two findings to review that are the highest priority ones. So I can see that I have an entry with the word Burberry on it. I can click on it and I have below the source data that comes from the GL entries file to have a bit more details on who entered the entry, what are the different GL accounts that are used, etc. If we go back to the previous screen, maybe we can watch, we can deep dive on some controls over the P2P cycle, which I said was a popular one. So as you can see, we have different controls over payment to suppliers, purchase invoices, and a mix of both rule-based and AI-based controls. If we look at one of them, same, I can double click on a control and I'll have the list of findings showing on my screen. Here, this one is flagging potential invoice duplicates. And again, if we click on a finding, we'll have the source data. So it's going to be based on different criteria using the subledger account. So we have the same supplier, we have the same amounts. If we go down there, same amounts, same date, and lastly, we have the same external reference. Here, what you can see is that we are really cleaning the external reference when we have this data preparation so that we can flag more findings than compared to a manual approach. And once our users are here, so they have their list of findings, they can filter down on the high priority ones, and they can also do several actions. So users are going to be able to add comments. So I don't know, something like that. You're going to be able to add attachments and to collaborate using different features. So you can change the status to indicate whether it's an anomaly or not. And you can also review the findings once it's all corrected and all reviewed by the right users. So this is a quick overview of what our tool can do. To finish the quick demo, I wanted to show you the Power BI capacities as well. So we're going to have a global report tab powered by Power BI. This is just an example of a dashboard on what we can do on Supervizor. This one is really focused on tracking the investigation progress. So we're going to have the investigation progress by type of controls, by countries, by users, and different categories. These dashboards are customizable. If you want to focus on specific risk for your audit, it's possible to customize them. So yeah, I've just given you a quick look at how Supervizor works and how it can help make your audit process more efficient. It's a simple yet powerful tool that is easy to implement and can quickly bring value to your team and the business.
Okay, Auriane, thank you very much. I appreciate that. We are actually not going to go in QA yet. This is actually user error on my part because I meant to put it our people, process, and technology slide back in there. We have a couple of final questions which we want to wrap up, and then we'll go into the Q&A. But actually, I just having just watched that, we had just Andre, Helene, you just had been talking about the use of technology. I mean, both of your organizations are using Supervizor. Do you want to quickly comment in terms of how they Andre, you talked about using RPA technology as well as additional technologies. How does Supervizor either complement that, or how does it do something? I mean, what impact is the technology having on your organization? Andre, do you want to kick us off, please?
Yes, I will say that, I used to work at Ernst & Young, EY, and I was doing audit, external audit, and also due diligence for mergers and acquisitions. And I just say to myself, when you start to be an internal audit director, you need tools that can help you to do faster. And when we implemented Supervizor, and before to implement it, we had some overview regarding the tools, Supervizor, how does it work, and how it can help us. It was amazing because he's doing, I will say, 50% of the task of external auditor or for a big company such as EY, KPMG, or PricewaterhouseCoopers. So he helps you to go faster and to identify anomalies, errors, and to make investigation quickly. And for my colleagues in the internal audit, it's a very efficient as a tool, and they like it because they used to do internal audit in their before to join Prometech, and it was very demanding, and you need to focus quickly on different data, different information. But with Supervizor, the way we use it, it's a kind of he goes to find for us before with his process automation systems to find, as I said, some anomalies, some errors, and it helps us to go now to investigate. So it's a kind of a share task. He helps us 50%, and we do 50% of investigation. So that is the kind of process that I very like it, because when you grow up, as I said, step by step, you don't want to do audit when you used to do that when you were young at the big four companies. So you need to do things faster and efficiently. So that's the key point that I can emphasize regarding Supervizor tool.
Okay, and then Helene, how about
Yes.
yourself?
Can I give a kind of an anecdote because Andre just mentioned EY, KPMG, and Price, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So I will give you another big four, which is actually my external auditor, Deloitte. And so I can give you a kind of testimony by which was given by our partner regarding, the fraud management override of controls, which is something that external auditors are always quite focused on. So for fraud management override of controls, to show Deloitte that our work was efficient, etc., we actually used Supervizor on a volume, to give you an idea, of 1.2 million registered écriture, as we say in French. And in fact, the partner, Deloitte partner, Belgium, was unable to tell us that Supervizor was actually, from what he saw, and he can testify on that, more powerful than his own tool, homemade, I would say. So it was quite an acknowledgement, and I would say good to mention. Of course, it was not written down. Sorry for that, but nevertheless, it was recognized. And what I can say also to maybe the French speakers on the webinar, it's because I cannot translate that properly in English. Quand on fait tourner les moulinettes from Supervizor, it can give you, as André mentioned, anomalies, and then how to proceed with the 1.2 million, which obviously you would never do it humanly without the tool. Then it gives you a list of, if I remember well, 100 something anomalies. And at the end of the day, when you work with finance people, etc., there were in fact maybe 10 real, I would say, things to deep dive into. So just to testify and give you this example, pragmatic example, that the use of Supervizor, even by our external auditor Deloitte, was acknowledged as a really quite powerful tool.
Okay, thank you very much. I guess we really don't want to. We can move off Supervizor now. But Auriane, I appreciate. Do you actually know the translation of what? Helene, how would you say that for the English speakers?
Helene was saying that when we are running Supervizor and all of the algorithm, basically it's going to give you a list of findings, a list of anomalies, which is what I showed on the demo.
No, actually, I'm just asking about the French phrase that Helene
used.
used.
I don't exactly know how to translate either.
Okay.
It's not slang, certainly not.
No,
but it's kind of
informal. Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It's on a fun mode, let's say.
Okay. Us English speakers will stay in the dark here. We have one last question to get to before we open up for Q&A, and that is really it's what advice do you have for internal audit leaders who seek to change the influence and value of internal audit to the business? Andre, would you kick us off there, and maybe Helene, you can comment afterwards.
Yeah, I always said you have to focus on business thinking in the first place. I know that when you are doing internal audit, you are keen on just doing compliance or maybe to audit accounting and finance, and you are very, very traditional. But you have in the meanwhile to be to follow compliance, but also to respond to the need of the business, because business areas such as supply chain or maybe sales department, they don't care in fact about internal audit. They want internal audit to be as a partner, as an advisor. You have to advise them how they can perform better and to reach their targets. I give an example. For instance, in risk management, we need to identify in KYC, know your customers or know your suppliers. So, but in the meanwhile, we are in the different area. For instance, we found clients or customers in Saudi Arabia. We found clients, customers in different area. Some are linking from they are in India, but they are linking in Russia companies. So regarding the compliance, the international sanctions, you have to make sure that the internal audit department has a skills in risk management also, to identify, to analyze different risks that will have a bad impact to the business. So you have to be a partner for the business, and you have to advise them. And when you do also internal control, when you do also internal audit, you have to make sure that you will help them to improve, to solve problem, to reduce or to mitigate the risk, and in order the business can go can do his obligation or his target and reach his target. So I will say you have to do to be a business or to develop the business thinking, the teaching approach, and also to develop the mindset of new technology to help also to analyze, collect, transform data, analyze them, and represent them to your internal clients. In fact, I will say that.
Okay, terrific. Thank you, Andre. Helene, do you have any final words of advice? How to have change the influence and the value of internal audit to the business.
Oh, I don't want to repeat what Andre just said because it was just, sorry, but perfect and totally, what can I say, for us, available and true for us as well. Maybe I think we are entering a kind of internal audit, internal control and risk management 2.0 era, meaning by that, yes, we have to be recognized as a true advisor, partner, not only watchdog, and with powerful tools like the supervisor, we can definitely be more efficient to the business and also to our governance, generally speaking. So I'm not going to repeat what has been said because it was exactly what I think and what I can testify about. But definitely, we are now in a new era.
Okay, excellent. Okay, hopefully everyone can hear okay. It's got a little feedback. So we're going to move into the Q&A. We're going to wrap the rest up with our Q&A here today. We've got a few questions that have already come in. If you have questions for our speakers or for Auriane, please go ahead and submit them via the questions tab there at the bottom. But let's get underway with a couple that we have also already. And the first question has a little bit of repetition, I think, for one of the earlier questions, but that is, with technology evolving quickly, what new skills do you think internal auditors need in order to stay ahead? Andre, you commented on that once already.
Yes.
Do you want to reiterate a little bit, I think?
Yes, we will say, but I will bring another thing, and maybe Helene said that also previously. You have to have the communication, you have to have the empathy and the listening skills also, because when I set up for the first time the internal audit department at Premier Tech, people or my colleagues around different business or areas or department thought that we are the police. We are having to make a control and to assess them and to make an assessment on the person, not on the business or the activity. And we changed that. We taught them it's not our approach. You need to have a business thinking and the teaching approach, as I mentioned, and to develop also the empathy and to listen to your colleagues and to help them to improve their way to work also. And I will say also, when you have this kind of skills, you develop it, but as I mentioned previously, you need to monitor data. You need to analyze faster data, and you need to have a business intelligence RPA system. So your colleagues must have improve step by step that kind of skills in order for them to respond quickly and to develop a new approach, more listening skills, more empathy skills, and more communication also. Because you know, the internal auditor department is such as someone can see the business in 360-degree. So when you see that, you can find anomalies, you can find fraud, you can find different things, you can see everything. In the meanwhile, you need to have a different approach to improve people, how to be more efficient and reduce step by step or to mitigate the risk in their areas and to help them. So I will say that in conclusion, be a business partner is the key success in this kind of job.
Okay, excellent.
And I would maybe just add one point. I think totally agree, of course, and empathy and also curiosity. I think people have to be really open-minded in our functions. Open-minded also because they usually come from, as I said, multicultural environment. With different, of course, mindset and roots and cultural roots, which are quite, of course, an advantage and a competitive advantage. But of course, curiosity is key. And as you said, Andre, I totally agree. The 360 vision that we can have is quite exceptional. I think it is not in every function in a company, except when you're a CEO, hopefully, but you cannot always have this 360 vision in all the functions. So I think it's quite a chance for us in
Okay.
internal audit. I mean,
Yeah. So I have a very pragmatic question, and I think this is interesting to see where this is going from. But the question is your tech budget growing each year? Helene, is your tech budget continuing to grow each year?
the answer is yes, my budget is growing. I cannot assure you it's going to be a double-digit growth, unfortunately, every year, but it has grown also in the previous years, for the 2-3 years, previous years, because of the challenges we had, and because my CEO and my governance bodies understood that, as also it was mentioned by Andre, but we need to monitor data correctly to be able to give this added value which is expected by the business. So the tech budget is definitely given to tools, but also I would say good accompany of the tools, relevant accompany of the tools, if I can say so.
Andre, is your tech budget growing each year?
Yeah, absolutely.
He has to, because as I said, you need to analyze data, and it's increasing. And also my maybe 6 months ago, my CFO gave to me a new mission to improve the data, to improve the way to analyze data in different departments. So I'm in charge of this kind of project, and to create a data warehouse, to create robots to connect with different links, to connect different softwares, to make sure different ERP systems, and to bring all data in one place in data warehouse or a data lake also, and after to analyze data through OLAP Cube, for instance, or different tools, and to bring the insights of data and to give to different departments the analysis or reporting analysis to make the right decisions, and to also to make something that you can have the prediction. You can analyze the future regarding your competitors, regarding the market. For instance, we are in Canada. I know that you heard that we maybe in 1 month Trump will say that the tariffs will be 25% when you export to United States, and for us 70% of our turnover is made in United States. So we have to improve step by step, to analyze the way to reduce the risk. But the risk, to do risk management, for instance, you need robots. You need to improve your investment in tech. Otherwise, you will be very far away of what you want to achieve.
Okay, got it. I was hoping to squeeze in one or two last questions here because we have a few that have been queued up, but I think we are at the top of the hour. So I'd like to invite those who may have additional questions. You can reach out to us via the contact form on our website, or you can also basically even, if you're interested in seeing a demonstration, you can basically ask your questions in the comment field of that form as well. For those who are interested in seeing a demonstration of Supervizor, please go to supervizor.com demo. But I really want to take a final minute here and just thank our speakers here today for their time as well as their insights. But also thank you, our audience, for joining us and learning more about kind of the changing nature of internal audit. On behalf of Supervizor, I want to thank, on behalf of our speakers, I want to thank everybody and wish you a very good day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Have a nice day.
Bye.